Today I sit down with Buzz Apollo Music to talk about how he became one of Ireland's leading buskers, how he overcomes moments of self-doubt, and how important it is to say that you can do it. Myself and Buzz have been friends for over a decade now, so much fun to have him on the show. At the end of the podcast, Buzz will give us a live performance of his latest single, Too Much. If you head over to my YouTube channel, you can see the video that we shot in my back garden for it. I'll leave the video link in the show notes. Alright everybody, welcome to another episode of Lessons with Louis. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Buzz Apollo Music, who's going to sit down and talk to us about how he got into busking, how he launched his first single, and where he is going next. So his name is Gary, and I've known him since I was a young child, and we're very good friends. And Gary, how are you doing today?
I'm doing grand. What's up, how are you?
I think I'm sick from you can hear, but I'm feeling good. I don't feel sick, so that's important. Gary arrived today and looked at me and said, "What's wrong with you?"
No, you just look wrecked when I seen you at first.
But I'm alive and I'm here and happy and feeling good. So, how did you get into music?
Well, I guess the very start of it was, I remember we went to the National Performing Arts School together.
Shout out.
And I remember being in the hallway. I was going over to get like Stephen a coffee. I remember in the hallway there was a song playing. I was like, oh, I want to know what that song is. I didn't know, so I recorded it on my phone. I didn't know where it was coming from the speakers, but I had no way of telling. And then I went and found out that it was a song called "Wake Me Up" by Ed Sheeran, or Sunburn by Ed Sheeran. And then I kind of looked up his stuff on YouTube and that, and I found this song called "You Need Me." And he plays it live, but when he plays it live, it's just him and the guitar and the loop pedal, and it sounds class. And I was like, I want to do that. So I guess I picked up guitar when I was 15, and I just self-taught myself off YouTube from looking at videos of him, and here I am. Yeah.
Sick. And what was the hardest thing about learning guitar off YouTube, and not a traditional classroom form?
I guess the hardest thing was trying to figure out what he was playing, because, you know, obviously you're not there, you'd have to stop at video points and like try figure it out until it sounds the same, which is just a pain, because there's just some videos where there's just such awkward angles and they just don't show hands and stuff like that. So I'd look up tutorials of how to play his songs a lot, and then if I couldn't find a tutorial, I'd just have to awkwardly flick through videos and like see how to play how he plays them. But yeah.
And what stood in your way getting into music? What was one of the biggest blocks before busking, just learning?
Like, what was my biggest block in learning?
Yeah.
I didn't really feel like I had any block in learning. I mean, I picked it up relatively quick. I mean, I came into MPS with the guitar after like 4 months of playing, and then there was nothing I couldn't really play at that stage, because I remember sitting in my room for at least 5 hours a day over the summer, like, and I know, like, if I wasn't sitting there for playing the guitar, I'd be looking at videos or be just watching his general performances and like, oh, that's really cool, you know, and see how he uses the loop and all that. So I was constantly learning about it because I just loved it and I just wanted to do it. So I didn't really find, I guess, I don't think I had a problem learning. Do you know what I mean?
So what advice would you give someone who wants to learn guitar but they don't think they'd be good enough?
It's just not true. Like, it's easier than you think. I mean, at first it's a bit of a bitch to do, because, for example, you get callus on your fingers and it really hurts, and sometimes they bleed, and that sounds very daunting at first, and it generally is. That's the reason why a lot of people just kind of give up. But I guess you just have to get through it. I mean, sometimes I used to get like these little, how would you describe them, like little bubbles on my finger, and like there's like this stuff in them, and I just couldn't touch anything, otherwise it's like a blister nearly.
Oh.
So that was kind of horrible. You'd have to pop them like a pin or something and get it is kind of disgusting and horrible, but when you get past that, like, I mean, my fingers are fine now. I mean, I don't exactly have feeling in the very tips of them, like, I'm not selling this well at all, but
no, I don't want feelings in my fingers.
No, but
I never got that far.
It's not that bad. It's not as bad as I'm making it out to be, Jesus. But Basically, don't listen to me. There's some good guitar tutorials online.
Yeah, watch
You
the
know,
guitar
like,
tutorials.
Yeah.
They're all there.
Oh, look up, listen, blah, 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 blah. Try learn
I love
Pacific
blah, 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 blah,
songs.
blah.
Specific songs, because there are these how to learn guitar tutorials, and it doesn't teach you any particular songs. It just teaches you chords, how to strum, and honestly, I find them very useless. So I would say just stick to learning specific songs, and if one song's too hard, go back and find another video. Try learn that one. That one's easy enough. Fine, cool, and then keep finding. But let's say there's a video that's too hard, like you want to learn some finger picking thing, it's just too hard. Learn something easier, learn a number of songs that's easier, then come back to it maybe a week or two later. You might find it a lot easier based off what you learned. Do you get me?
Yeah, so
Yes.
gradual.
Mm-hmm.
And what major setbacks have you had in terms of getting into busking?
I felt like I wasn't very worthy to play certain spots on Grafton Street. Like I remember going out and seeing the queues of buskers and looking at them all, like Dylan Harcourt and Jenko and all them, being like, oh, they're professional buskers, I can't play there, you know. But now that I got to know them, like, these guys are professional. Well, not aren't professional, but like they're just like me, you know, which is kind of funny. But so I used to not play certain spots, but don't be like that. You're another busker just like them. You have every right to, you know.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to do it, because I remember even going out at first and I'd play in between buskers and make it, and it'd be kind of, I'd cause hassle for whoever's playing either side of me, because I'd be a bit noisy and I was too nervous to go in queue and like talk to people, because I used to be like really desperate talking to new people. I remember closing my eyes because I was just too afraid to kind of look up and see anybody watching me, and then I just kind of forget I was there, and it made it a lot easier. I kind of felt like I was just at home in my room and I just kind of hear outside noise, and then I always bang my head off the microphone and I'd open my eyes for a second. Sometimes it'd be a bit of a crowd and I'm like, oh, you know, I didn't expect it, but it helped. That helped a lot, forgetting that I was actually there, and that's generally what I do when I perform. It makes it a lot easier.
And is there anything else you use or tell yourself to help with your nerves when you're performing?
Not really. I mean, just kind of forgetting I'm there sometimes and just focusing on what I'm doing as if there's nobody around. And I know that's easier said than done. A lot of people say like, oh, just pretend you're in your room singing in the mirror. Like, that's not, I didn't listen to that and be like, oh, I'm gonna go do that. I just was afraid to open my eyes to look at people, and then I just kind of forgot I was there. So it was just something that naturally happened for me, if that makes sense.
And in saying that, then how do you deal with negative self-talk? Away from nerves, like maybe you're telling yourself, or maybe you don't, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. How do you shut that voice
like
up?
in life in general.
Yeah.
Usually as soon as I get a thought like that, like, easier said than done, sometimes it does get the best of me, but I just kind of, as soon as it comes into the head, I just distract myself. I just immediately think about something else. I'm like, alright, I started doing something, so I don't let myself think about it, you know, because there's just no point. There really isn't.
And what would you distract yourself with?
Pick up the guitar, try to write a song about something, or I don't like using my phone, but sometimes I will go onto my phone, because the phone isn't necessarily the best thing to take it away from negative self-thought. My guitar, really, as soon as I pick up that or I start playing songs, whenever I feel it anyway, like shit, or just, it just kind of takes me away from it, I guess. You know, you just kind of forget you're there, like I said.
And what keeps you motivated?
There's a lot of things. I guess makes me be motivated to go out busking is I mean, I see all my friends out there, they're my social life now, and you know, I love seeing them and hanging out with them, and it really is fun. I really do enjoy it. And yeah, or playing down Temple Bar, I do love playing there, and I'm like, sometimes it can be a pain, or I play there late at night, so it's tiring. So like, do I want to go down? Like, I do really enjoy it when I go down, like, get a crowd and they all start singing, you know, and yeah, it's really cool, because people come up to you like, oh, you're deadly, man, that's so cool, I followed you on your stuff, you know, So that keeps me motivated as well. Like to hear that, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go down because people enjoy listening, and I enjoy the feedback.
And are there any books or podcasts or movies or musicians, anything like that, any media source that has kept you inspired and kept you motivated?
Not really anymore, but like back when I started, I just sat at home, like not sat, like when I was learning guitar, like all that summer, like I spent the whole summer learning it, and I remember I'd be in my room for at least 5 hours a day doing this, just watching Ed Sheeran videos and seeing him, and then slowly I started watching interviews with him. And I was like, he seemed like a really cool guy, and the stuff he was doing, we started talking about the industry.
Sounds like you're on first dates. Seems like a really cool guy.
But like he is, like he seemed like someone I can relate to, and now especially, like back when he was my age. But I watched his interviews and that, I'm like, he's a genuine guy. He's from the countryside, ginger fella. He just wanted to go do his music when he was my age, and I was like, that's cool, you know. And then he went, and how he did it, and where he is now, I'm like, that's crazy. Because usually, like, when you look up at people up there, you're like, it feels like, you know what I mean, like on the global stage, you're like, yeah, it seems unreachable. It almost seems like they were put there, like, and like when you look up, you're like, oh, I wasn't born to do that. But and then he just kind of made me realize, like, he wanted this. Like, he never seen himself playing Wembley and that, you know. Somebody had told him he was playing Wembley, like when he started off when he was my age. You'd be like, no way, like one man with a guitar, that's literally unheard of, you know. And that kind of motivated me, because I seen how he did come from nothing. He was like, remember sleeping on the subways and that, or at the end of the show he'd shout out, would anybody have a couch for the night, you know. I was like, damn, he really went all balls out, you know. And that really inspired me. I was like, I know how would you say it? Like, I feel like it's not necessarily the end. Like, this is gonna sound really cheesy, but I think I heard this somewhere, like, it's not necessarily the end, it's the journey. And I know the journey can be a little bit shit at time, but I do love what I do, and I wouldn't do anything else. That's
great that you love the journey, because I feel an issue with people our age, we don't like a journey. We like being told we're amazing really quick. And I think it roots back to when we're like 8 and there's like a sports tournament or a talent show, and
everybody gets a medal.
Everyone gets a medal. And I'm like, hey, little Louis, you are crap, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Inspire confidence and inspire, you know, them to believe in themselves.
Because then they reach the real world and it's not like that.
Yeah, and they look around, they're like, oh, this person actually worked. Like, let's look at it. If you have a child who practices their guitar once a week versus a child who practices their guitar every night, who's going to be the one playing on Grafton Street? Who's going to be the one, you know, being really good at guitar? And then they look around and say, why am I that person? Because you didn't work hard, but you've been lied to.
Because you're not told that that's the way it is as a kid. And I've seen that for myself, because I remember thinking, like, that's just insane. Like, how do you become that level? And you know, the 10,000 hour theory.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's insane amount of time. And you're like, but
you're probably getting close to it, are you? Are you timing it? Your 10,000.
I haven't. I'd be curious actually to work out how.
And what counts as practice and what counts as.
Yeah, well, even like, I mean, there's days where I'd go out and I'd be like, I'm not feeling this today. I'd do an hour or so, make enough money to buy me food and just hang out, you know. And it might be a bit of a DOS of a day, but sometimes, and then I might go to a gig that night or an open mic, and let's say, because sometimes it does get a bit like, I've been doing 3-4 sets a day, 3-4 days in a row, and you're like, you need a little bit of a breather from it. But like, sometimes
goal setting. Talking about goal setting. Yeah. So if you write it down, visualize it, put it down on paper, it's easier to work towards.
Yes. Yeah? And don't just set one big goal that seems impossible to get to. You need all these little goals between, because then they get you to that level. Like, I'm not going to say I'm going to play Wembley Stadium in 4 years, you know, because right now where I am, that's impossible. So I need to set.
It's not impossible,
but if I go and just keep aim for that goal, it almost seems it's too far away to just directly go for it. You need in between goals. So like at the moment, I plan on releasing an EP slash album in August. Hopefully, I need to get money together for that. But then what I have to do for that, I need to find a producer. I have a producer, but he's not in Ireland at the moment, so I'm gonna have a root around and see who I can find and what their music is like, what they've produced. I need to save up money to record it, so it's gonna be.
See him on Grafton Street, boys and girls. Give him some. Give him your change.
But it's gonna be like maybe 300 to record each track if I'm lucky, you know. So it is gonna cost a lot as well. And then I'm hoping to also save up for a MacBook, so I can store all my music on that, because I am looking to do a music performance course in Ballyfermot next year. Because when I left school, I was thinking I'm just gonna go for music, like I know, but then I kind of, after I took this year off, like, and I've realized that I don't. What would you say?
Know everything?
I don't know everything. Like, I knew I didn't know everything, but I thought
I knew something.
after watching all those inspirational videos, I'm like, I'm gonna do this, and then you get out there and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, the videos that are like, drop out of college now, it's a waste of money and time.
Yeah, you
Part of
know,
me sometimes like, yeah.
school is useless, you know, and to an extent, I mean, I do agree with them, but then you kind of, this, for example, this course I'm doing, it's going to teach me all about the music industry, about how to properly sell myself as an artist, how to get out there. There's going to be contacts that I can get throughout college. I'm gonna have access to recording studios any day of the week from 10 to 10 every day.
Maybe
for
wait
free.
and record your album there.
Producer. Yeah, I'm gonna record the next two there over the next 2 years. But I still want, what would you say? I still want to do this first, you know, for my own experience. It's just a goal set for myself, because I just want to make it happen, you know, as quickly as possible. But yeah, there's a lot of resources in college that can help me. I get to songwrite with a lot of other musicians, and it's very hands-on course, and I'll learn how to use GarageBand and Logic all properly. I'm like, there is a lot to take from that, and it's going to be 2 years, and I'm thinking I can still do everything I'm doing at the moment and that course.
You'll just be cutting down a little bit on busking hours and stuff like that. But
Yes, so it'll be after college, and it will be on the weekends, you know. But even at that, it doesn't take up too much time during the week at all, and there's a lot to take from it. This course cost me 600 a year. Like, that's insane, like, considering what I'm getting out of it, because
3 busking sessions.
yeah, like, well, then Temple Bar if I'm lucky, but it's just insane, like, because if I wanted to record in a recording studio, like, one song, too much cost me like 300. Imagine paying just double that and record as much music as I want for a year, and then getting a band in college and having access to so many. It's a bit of a no-brainer, you know. So even if I do want to drop out after the first year, which I doubt I will, because of how much I can get out of this course, it's a bit of a no-brainer.
But make sure you take advantage of things in the college, whether there's a class or not. You should be, you know, staying late on the computers, messing with the software, watching tutorials and stuff. Because what I find, I'm in film school, and it's what you put in, it's what you get out. Like,
Exactly.
if I don't want to do anything, no one's going to make me do anything. So
You're not going to get anything out of it. It's just going to be a waste of time, a waste of a year.
yeah, like, use your resources, use the people, because you're around such talented people who are driven typically and have the same mindset as you.
Mm-hmm.
So just take advantage of that. Like, you mentioned earlier that this is your gap year from school. So when did you start busking then? Were you in school when you started busking?
I started busking when I was 16.
16.
Yeah.
And how did you manage that in school and life? And
Well, throughout 6th year, I actually missed school quite a lot to go busking, and that worked out fairly well for me, actually, because since I missed school to go busking, I got spotted by this guy called Jeff Pulver, and he brought me over to America to perform in Boston and open up for The Commitments, you know, The Commitments, the film and them. So that was pretty cool. If I hadn't missed school that day, I wouldn't have got that. What else? That's pretty much what I do, because I have a storage unit in town, so it was easy for me to just sometimes I go in my uniform and I do quite well in my uniform because
people come up and say you're meant to be in school.
Well, actually, what happened was somebody sent that my mum knew, recorded a video the Glad with the uniform on Grafton Street, and then my mum seen it and then realised it was Mitchin. Didn't stop me, but I mean, didn't help. But
And did that have any major negative consequences?
Which?
Skipping school. Was there any?
Not really. Like, no. I mean, I kind of learned to just not give a shit, you know, because I had no interest in school at all. There was genuinely nothing for me to take from it. I felt like it was just a waste of time. I wasn't learning anything that was actually relevant to what I wanted to do in life. It was just unnecessary. Like, and I do believe that even, like, this college, it's not based on points and that. Like, they do have leeway for, like, what's it called?
Experience, I guess.
Yeah, like, exceptional talent is what they said in it.
Okay,
I'm not saying I know that sounds so cocky.
No,
I'm not saying...
You are. You're performing on one of Ireland's main streets, and you start doing your 16, and obviously you learn and grow from that. So don't come across as an overconfident person, but you are...
I mean, I don't like putting it that way. I'd prefer to be like, I put in the hours, I'll get this done, and I know I'll be successful, put the work in time. So I guess that I don't think talent is really a thing. Like, that kills me actually when people are like, oh, but you're talented, and I'm like,
I wasn't 2 years ago. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, that's just not how it works. I learned what I do.
It's like learning anything.
Yes.
But people just say to me, I could never do that. Like, someone was asking me, oh, film, I could never do that. I'm like, yeah, you could. It's grand. Like,
learn how to do it. If you don't believe you can do it,
you're never going to do it.
You can't. No, but like, you actually can't, because you will never, even if you try learn that thing, you'll have this belief in your head that I can't do this, so you never actually will put in the effort to actually try learn. So if you believe you can't, it's true, you can't. But if you can, I have absolutely no doubt in you that you can. That's the reality of it.
That's facts. It's about growth mindset and believing in yourself.
Yes.
Like, if you tell yourself something and visualize it, I think writing down really helps me. If I write it down, then it's real. Or if I put a date on it, like this podcast, I put a date on it, so I have to do it. And I've doubled the amount of episodes I've recorded because I've just been like, I have to do this. Yeah, just write it down, and then it makes it a reality for yourself. And also, if you tell someone, it makes you accountable. So a lot of people have accountability partners. So if I was like to you, Gary, you have to keep checking up on me. I'm going to have a podcast recorded every 2 days, and you have to text me, and then you'd say something to me like, Louis, I'm going to have a song written every 2 days, and
that's a good show,
text me and make sure I do it. So I think having an accountability partner is something we might feel weird about, or like, if we tell someone, we might be embarrassed and then we're a failure. No, I think having an accountability partner is good. It's kind of like in the gym, having your personal trainer. You know, if you go home and eat all the crap food that they're telling you not to eat, and then you come in feeling unfit and stuff like that, you're going to be given out to, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think accountability partners, we should promote more.
That's a good idea, actually. That's a fair shout.
And it doesn't have to be in the same industry. That's the thing. It doesn't have to be in the same interest.
Just a friend, yeah.
Yeah. Did you go to gym this morning? You said you were going to go to gym this morning. I think...
Then you feel like shit, and I'm like, oh, they have expectations from me, like my friends, like, oh, you know, yeah, that's a good idea.
It's like when you're a kid and you don't go to a class, like, and the teacher, if you're in a team sport or something like that, or say now doing a solo in a drama piece like we would have been doing, and if we didn't show up, we screwed up for everyone else.
Yeah.
So you have to show up. Now, you have a new single out.
I do. Called
Too Much, which we are going to get a live performance of later, the Outside Studio. And tell us about Too Much.
Well, Too Much is a song I wrote when I was 17 in 6th year. I wrote it back about this time last year, between January and March. I wrote it in study in 6th year, and
good.
It's about when I was 15. It's about a bike ride I went on looking for this girl, and who I just missed, and I want to see her again, and then yeah.
I was there in real time when these situations were going. If you like, Gary would say, yeah, I like this girl, yeah, this is what she looks like, yeah, I'm going out with her, yeah. So tell us more. What happened?
Like, what's the song about?
Yeah.
Well, in depth, I went up to my friend Jordan's up in Clonsilla. I live down in Coalmine, and I took his old bike out for a ride, and like the tires were like nearly flat, and the brakes were in bits, and the gears didn't work, and it was just in bits in general. So, I knew this girl. We were together at one stage, and then we broke up back when we finished school and that.
You were cycling on this rusty bike with broken wheels.
Yes. Down. I knew she lived somewhere between Clonsilla and Maynooth, and I was really desperate, but I was just hoping to come across her. 15-year-old Gary was a twat. He really was. So I just went on a cycle down towards Maynooth, and I cycled down pretty much every road I could find and backtracked, and I was about 8 hour cycle, and the song was just about that bike ride and everything that was going through my head. I remember like it was lashing out of the heavens, and it was like soaked to the skin, and I could like go like that and squeeze my jumper, and like the water was pouring out, and then it completely dried up and the sun was out, and I nearly completely dried off, and then it lashed out of the heavens again, and I was soaked. And yeah, it was just a long cycle. It was like my way of venting, I guess, you know, because I didn't have many friends back then that felt like I could talk to about certain things, and I just needed to get it out, sort of, and that song really helped.
And how did you turn that story into a song? How does that start?
I've been trying to write a song about that since I was 15, since I went on the bike ride, and I had the idea for so long, like 2 years, and nothing was coming out. I wasn't writing anything that I was feeling, and then I remember I was just in study. I had my songbook open, and I could just hear that guitar, like in my head. Like usually when I start hearing a song, I can hear it like really vividly, but it's almost like, imagine you're at a concert, but you're behind closed doors and it's sounding muffled, so you can't actually hear the lyrics, but you can hear the general melody and how everything sounds, but it's just a bit muffled, and you kind of have to figure out what it is. You have to figure out what that song is, what the lyrics are, what they're playing, and that's what I hear in my head. I started hearing the guitar and that melody, and then I just wrote those first lyrics. I've been knocking around for hours. Took to my friends to take a ride. I hope these old wheels would take me where I need to go. And it's a very, very honest song. You know, it's straight out. I didn't really hold back. Because like, I remember when I first wrote it, I was like, I do not want to put her name in this. Like, is it too much to say I miss you, Jane? That's like, I felt like such an idiot. And sure, I remember even showing you the song at first in Andrew's 18th, and I just wanted to change that lyric, but then I realised that like, for what the song meant to me in that, and if I really wanted to be like a heartfelt song, like an honest, I just felt it made it a better song. And I know people will argue, like my friend Adam Fahey's like, oh, you shouldn't have put her name in, it sounds cringy and that, and I'm like, I know, but like, it wouldn't be the same song if her name wasn't in there. And I know it doesn't mean anything to anyone else really that much, because it's just a song, but like for me, it didn't seem right. I was like, no, it needs it, you know, because it's just such an honest song about how I felt. And yeah, I write best when I'm honest. And sometimes I know a lot of songwriters are like, oh, I don't like showing personal songs but and I get that, because like, it can be like, this people are going to know what this is about. This sounds like, it's quite an embarrassing thing even, you know, going on this bike ride when I was 15, like it's such a stupid, you know, but I guess it makes the song all the more special.
What future projects do you have upcoming? You mentioned earlier you have an album, but is there anything else you're planning on working on?
Well, it's going to be a few months before that's together and ready to release. So I do hope to release a single within the next 2 months. I know that's a lot of time, but I can't find a producer right now. The second I can't get hold of one, but I know the one that I worked on too much will be back in a few weeks. So, and then obviously it's to record it and then master it and then stick it up and then prep it for release. You know, so that all takes time. So that's the next thing. I'm releasing a single called My Final Stand. And then the album/EP will be out in hopefully August.
And what's the new song about? My Final Stand. Sounds very personal again.
Yeah, I mean, it's about when I was 15 again, because the way I'm releasing, I have like 3 albums/EP planned, and they're all about stages of my life. So Duck This is the first one, and this is about from when I was 13 to 15. And when I first started songwriting, and My Final Stand is about, I guess, a lot of the shit that I just went through when I was that age. So like at home, or just how I felt in general. And I guess it was my way of saying I'm just gonna give everything. I guess it was like a commitment to myself, saying that song, saying like, okay, I'm just gonna do my best at this and hopefully it works out, you know. It was just kind of commitment to myself in general.
And where can we find you, Gary?
On social media, or
on social media, on the street.
You can find me.
What's your home address? I'm joking.
You can find me on Grafton Street Friday, Saturday, Sundays, literally all day from like 11 to 11. And then you find me in Temple Bar on Friday, Saturdays, and some Sunday nights from 9 to, well, you can legally play till 11, but sometimes I do play over and play till 1 to get the night bus home. And then you can also find me on social media, like Instagram at Buzz Apollo Music, or YouTube is the same, or Spotify, it's just Buzz Apollo.
So where did the name Buzz Apollo come from?
Well, my full name is Gary Phelim Buzz Apollo Genesis Farley.
Very
bit of
understated.
But so I don't like the name Gary or Farley. I was named after Gary Barlow from Take That.
Well, he's a good musician.
He is. He's a cool guy, but I just don't like my name itself and what I associate myself. Well, like when I think of Gary, I think of like 13 to 16-year-old me, and I just don't like that version of myself, and I just want to get rid of it. I guess I wanted like an escape from that, and I guess it is a bit of a childish, like Buzz Lightyear, Buzz Apollo. Like it does sound a bit like what the you know, but yeah, I guess it is a bit of a childish escape from my own reality.
So what would you like me to call you?
Like,
should I call you Buzz?
I don't mind. Like, I'm up for that. Like, people call me Buzz quite a lot.
I guess I've known you since you were 6. So
yeah, so you can call me Gary then, you know. But it feels weird not see. I like being called Phelim. Phelim is my second name. I would love if more people called me that, but they just don't.
Phelim. Phelim's here. We're doing a podcast of Phelim. Trying to get used to it. So,
I mean, I don't take Buzz Apollo. I see as more of a professional
stage name.
Yeah, stage
Lady
name.
Gaga kind of.
Yeah, like in a way, it's not very professional, you know, because it's like a lot of people, I get that a lot where it's like, oh, that's just childish. That sounds so stupid. What's a Buzz Apollo? You know, Buzz Lightyear. Oh, you look dope. You know, but I just I guess it is just. I like the childish kind of escape, you know, and I like that idea about it, and I feel like my music portrays that quite a lot, where I'm just kind of trying to escape my situation, you know, and I feel like it's fitting because of that. And if I explain that that's why it's Buzz Apollo, it's not like my personal name that like people always say to me. It's just, you know, when you're a kid and you look up and you're like, oh, I want to be like that. I guess that's sort of the idea behind it.
And why do you feel you're always trying to escape reality?
I mean, I remember being 13, I just started getting down on myself, and I just, up until I was about 16, I was just really, just did not like my life at all, and I just wasn't happy at all, and I just wanted to get away from that. And it was my confirmation, I came up with that name, Buzz Apollo Genesis. That's like a name I picked, and I felt like that. Oh, that's so cool! I did pick Buzz after Buzz Lightyear, and Apollo was like the space missions, because I had to convince them that it wasn't after Buzz Lightyear, because it's supposed to be an inspirational person. So I convinced them that like, oh, it's Buzz after Buzz Aldrin, you know. And then Genesis was just like another one we threw in. Genesis is also the patron saint of actors, but it's also
fitting, you're a performer.
Yeah, and I do a lot of acting as well. And then it's also a rocket as well. But yeah, I was like, that's so cool. Everybody else was picking names like Mary and John. I was like, Buzz Apollo Genesis, you know. And that's where it originally came from. And then I just found I want to escape my kind of reality over those years, because it just wasn't good. I just did not enjoy it. And then Jane, I guess she came up, and I got with her, and things started to look up in myself. I started to be a lot happier, but then things got worse from my situation at home in general. And then obviously I'm not with Jane anymore, and the home situation, now I'm living with my nan and that, I moved out and that, but it just all kind of fell apart, especially 6th year. That was the worst year of my life. And
was it the best year of your life in other ways, in terms of getting on the busking?
It was the most impactful year of my life.
Yeah.
That's the way I like to put it. I don't necessarily like saying it was the worst, because a lot of good things did happen for me that year, but it was not an enjoyable year, but I did get a lot out of it. I did learn a lot in my personal life and in professional life, and it's changed me for the better. And then that's when I changed my name. I started going by Buzz Apollo, because I just wanted to scrap everything in the past.
And what advice would you give to someone who's trying to balance their leaving cert and performing?
It depends what you want to do. You see, there's some buskers or some musicians who just come out and they're a busker for fun or for money, or that's all they really do it for. And they're like, oh, so I'm gonna, like, there's a busker called Hannah, and she busks with Auka. She's the violinist, and she's balanced her leaving cert with busking at the same time. So she doesn't always, it's rare enough we see her out busking. She came out for the big busk on Grafton Street when there was like 12 of us the other day all busking together. But apart from that, she doesn't. But I'm not sure she wants to do music as like her career. So she balances she puts her leaving cert first.
And her leaving first also makes sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it does actually. Yeah, sorry, that was so stupid. She puts her leaving first, but then there's people like me. I completely prioritise busking and music. I remember staying back in 6th year until 10 o'clock at night in the music room, just writing songs and practicing. And you know, I did that most days of the week if I wasn't missing school to go off busking, you know. And then when I did, like, I'd go in on Monday nights. Mondays I would mitch, and I'd go in the busk, and there'd be open mics on that night that some of the buskers used to go to, and then we'd get food there and that as well, and that's how I kind of became friends with them. And Wednesdays, but a lot of the time I did just stay back until 10, because it was also like my own kind of place, because the school was empty at that time, and it was great having all like a piano there, because I didn't have a piano at home. So it was just like my kind of
escape.
Yeah, exactly.
Music is your escape.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not telling you. It
is my escape, and that was just my personal space. And I wrote a lot of songs during that time, and it was just somewhere I could relax. I used my busking money to buy myself food and all that in the Spire just around the corner, and yeah. That was my coping mechanism for that year, because yeah.
And you mentioned acting earlier. What are your aspirations? Do you have Do you just kind of take acting as it comes, or do you aspire to be an actor as well, or what's your...
I kind of take it as it comes. Like, in saying that, if I was offered, like, a career in acting in the morning, like, oh, there's a few million for you, get like, yeah, no problem. You know? I wouldn't give up the music, not a chance. But I would 100% take that up because I do love acting as well.
You're like the new Lady Gaga. A Star is Born 6.
But, how do I say... Oh, I mean, I love it. I do take it as it comes. Like, I was in St. Vincent de Paul ad there last year. Actually, what happened there was I left my Leaving Cert English exam an hour and a half early to go for the audition.
An hour and a half?
An hour and a half early to go for the audition.
Were you doing ordinary or higher level?
I was doing ordinary. I failed
Paper
English.
1 or paper 2? Yeah, okay.
Paper 2, I did fail it.
Oh God, yes, you need so much time in paper 2. So, finish your Leaving Certs, but go on, sorry.
But that morning was my Leaving Cert maths exam, and I ran in about 15 minutes late to that, and then I couldn't find a calculator. But that's what happened that morning. But after I left the English exam to go to the audition, when I got into the audition, I was late and I had to explain that I was late. I was like, sorry, I was in my Leaving Cert English exam, I had to leave early to come, and they were like, oh shit. And then they told me it's a scenario for the ad, and they're like, so it's supposed to be the morning of your Leaving Cert maths exam, you're running in about 10 to 15 minutes late, you don't have your stuff, and I'm like, this literally happened this morning. It was just all too weird, and even the way they described like the guy and what he was going through, I was like, this sounds fairly accurate. And
they wrote it about me.
it did really kind of hit me, and I was like, oh shit, this is... So I really did connect with the character, so, and I think that helped them. I was like, oh, he's literally... And then I got the part, and then luckily they shot the actual thing a week later, and they shot it in between my exams, and yeah.
Very good.
And then because of that, the money that I got from that ad, I used that to support my music, so that's how I recorded Too Much on that. Yeah.
Brilliant. Is there any last words, Gary? Anything else I forgot? Anything to say? We have your socials. We know you have a new single out. You know you have an album coming out in August. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what's going to happen now is we're going to have a live performance of Too Much. So, Gary, if you want to go get set up, and then we'll do that.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Class. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You'll be back, hopefully. If you don't get too famous.
Knocking around for hours, talk to my friends to take a ride. I know these open wheels will take me where I need to go. And these brakes have seen the time, tires nearly flattened by, but I relate to this back when I'm on my own. I'm traveling long, I'm by the Cornell water, the Dublin Kildare border. Am I traveling towards the final light? Been like 8 hours, but there's just this haze in sight, and I'm soaked. Is it too much to hear me say it? Oh, these waters aren't the way you know. It's a good thing I'm not the kind to let you go. But I'm broken. Is it too much to say I miss you, Jane? My head's in the mess, and I know you're gone, but I can't see you yet, 'cause I'm choking. Is it too much to say I miss you, Jane? If we're losing track along the way, can I just take you in my arms to say, yeah, I'm broken. Do you know how much that I have missed you, Jane, at all? You can always call. I've been breaking down for hours, fix it out of me and all my powers. but you just cannot see me through. No, I never stood a chance. How did I give a second glance? Is this down the fact that you hesitate? No, I make the mistake. It tears me up at the corners. My stomach's sick, someone warn her. Oh, I pray to God you hear my voice. There's no hope in hell that I have a choice, but I'll wait. On this lonely road I grow to hate. Oh, little did I know I passed you by, but I really hope you hear my cry. 'Cause it's broken. Is it too much to say I miss you, Jane? If my head's in the mess, and I know you're gone, but I can't see you yet, 'cause I'm choking. Is it too much to say I miss you, Jane? If we're losing track along the way, then I just take you in my arms to say that I'm broken. Oh, is it too much to say I miss you, Jane? If my head's in the mess, and I know you're gone, but I can't see you yet, 'cause I'm choking. Oh, is it too much to say I miss you, Jane? If we're losing track along the way, and I just take you in my arms to say that I'm broken, and I'm choking. I've been cycling around with open dress. Last seen I was got me feeling nothing less. With 315 to say, I don't know how to betray. With these 315 to say, yeah. But all I know is I'm broken, and I'm choking, babe. I'm choking, baby. I've been knocking around for hours. Talk to my friends to take a ride. I hope these autumn wheels will take me where I need to go. I wish you could see me now. Hear these songs of what's on down. With each and every one I owe you, dear Jane. I miss you.
If you want to find Buzz on social media, check out Buzz Apollo Music at facebook.com and Buzz Apollo Music at instagram.com, as well as his single, as I said, on iTunes and Spotify. So that is itunes.apple.com/album/too much single, and then loads of numbers. So just type in Buzz Apollo Music. All the links are on his social media channels. And next week, I sit down with Liam Coughlin, who received the highest amount of points in his final school exams here in Ireland. He's now studying medicine and is going to offer some tips on how to succeed. If you'd like to keep up with me, check out my Instagram at LouisMax as well. And as I said, the podcast is not sponsored, so please, if you'd like to support it, share it with a friend, comment, rate it. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Have a great day and love yourself. Alright.